Hello and welcome to week 2 of micro credentials for AI for business leaders. I'm happy to be here. I'm Sophie Andrell. I'll be leading this course for you on behalf of Trent University. So I'm very excited to be here. So today on week 2, we're opening up um, for prompts, prompt engineering. This is a critical aspect. So I'll give you a little introduction again this week. Then we're going to talk about understanding prompts, and then we're going to dive in and become proficient at using simple prompts and complex prompts for many different situations. So, as you know, the course is 6 weeks long. We're into week 2, and week 3, 4, 5, and 6, we'll be doing marketing, business development, productivity, and ethics, and then also we'll be doing chatbots that week. So it's self-paced, and these video lectures are about an hour. Then we're together on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. for about an hour, and then you've got a little bit of homework that you'll do, so it could add up to 3 hours a week for you. So our pathway, we're right here right now. Week 2, and then next week is marketing, as I said, and then on June 11th is your first assignment. So you still have lots of time to introduce yourself in that week 11, and in that week 11, you're posting it to the discussion board. You can post it now if you want. You can post it whenever you like, but I'd like you to have it there before June 11th, say at 11 o'clock. And that will be just introducing yourself in any medium you like. So it could be a video, it could be a podcast, it could be a superhero. So it could be whatever you like. And the bio card of the superhero, we showed you how to do that on the live lecture, and we talked a little bit about it in our video lecture as well. So lots of different opportunities. I'm hoping you're going to use AI to some degree on introducing yourself, but the introduction is really just about who you are and why you want to use AI. So you want to cover those 2 points in your introduction, who you are and how or why you want to use AI. Okay. And if you're doing a video, just keep it under a minute. We don't need it that long. And then the quiz, the online assessment of what we've learned to date at that point is already online. You'll find that in the assessment part of the Blackboard, and you just go there and you can take it whenever you like, as often as you like, and you have until June 13th to take it, and you have to get 75% in order to qualify for the badge that you're getting at this micro certification. Okay, so that's where we're at. So, in opening, we were talking about how important AI is and how, far-reaching it is. So, I want you to think about it as an AI strategic thinker. If someone's talking to you about AI and they're not really sure, if their company doesn't adapt AI now in 2025, they will be dinosaurs in 3 years. They're going to be gone. So, it's kind of a visual that I wanted to share with you that I've been using in some of my opening slides at conferences and workshops. I thought I want to share it with you guys as well. Another one that I use from time to time that I think is relevant based on some of the conversation we had last week is, AI is like electricity was when it first came out. It was considered dangerous. Don't bring that into my house. It'll electrocute someone. Especially when they started using it for the electric chair, it's like, oh my goodness, you can't use that at home. So it was fascinating and frightening at the same time, which is kind of like AI. It's fascinating and frightening at the same time until we figure it out, until we get our safeties and our controls in place, right? It keeps on evolving and it gets bigger, and it's so just I think of it like that, and it's a good description, and I'm sure you may have heard this elsewhere, but if you haven't, feel free to use it. So generative AI is AI that's continuously learning, right? That's why they say generative AI, because it's always generating, regenerating, getting smarter, getting faster, knowing you better than you know yourself. and it's like electricity was when it first came available. Okay. And then I thought you probably need some stats. Being business leaders, we like to throw stats around to our members, to our staff. So you may want to throw these around, and they are from Forbes, these stats. So that I find an excellent resource. And in this case, we're talking about 97% of businesses know that AI is going to help their business. And we also know that the size of the market is expected to be 407 billion by 2027. They expect cars to be driven 1 in 10, every 10 cars will be self-driving by AI in 2020 in 2030. And then the value of the market of AI, and again, here's the source, OpenAI statistics in 2025, and I have the link for you here. If you'd like the full article, was valued at 120 billion in 2022, and in a short few years, 5 years from now, it's going to be 1.6 trillion. So that's just incredible growth rate, right? So those are just some uh, leadership stats I would share with you. And then so opening, what is generative AI? It's not Google. Another thing I hear people saying, and as a business leader who's a strategic leader in AI, I want you to have these answers. No, it's not Google. Google, if you ask it a question, find me my competitors and how I can outcompete them, it's going to say, I can't help you with that, but here is a list of who your competitors might be. And it'll give you a list. You have to do your own research. You'll have to go to their website and you'll have to figure it out. Whereas with generative AI, the tools that we talked about last week and we're going to be diving into, you're going to ask that question. It's going to give you a matrix with the answers, and it's going to give you what it thinks you can do to outcompete each one. So it's thinking and it's summarizing in a very different format. And that's what we're going to be talking about, prompts today. You ask it for these different formats that it now looks at this information and it thinks about it and it gives it back to you in a way that you can now use it, whether it's a graph, a chart. It's very cool. And people might say, why are you using AI to help you with your documentation and with the work that you're doing when you're answering a quote or answering a grant? Well, because Grammarly, before AI, would simply only fix your spelling and your grammatical errors. Whereas this will tell you where your weaknesses are in the contract you just wrote. Where are you vulnerable in that contract? Or it'll look at a number of business plans that you're evaluating and tell you which is the strongest. It's thinking for you. So very, very different. So, what is generative AI? It thinks, it learns, it builds on previous questions, it gets a relationship with you. So when you come back to it, it remembers what you did a year ago, 6 months ago, and it helps you remember as well. Fabulous. And then it's using data from around the world. It's, as I said, it's like having all the smartest people on certain topics at your fingertips at any one moment. And it's using data from these people. And it's also giving you the sources, which I'm a big fan of. You need to have the sources so you can actually then leverage making sure it's what you wanted, making sure it's authentic. Okay, and we talked about the word authentic. It's huge when we're talking about AI. You need to make sure that you make it your own. Okay, so I digress a little bit, but here is what we're going to be hopping on these later to show you some examples. When we're together on Tuesday, we'll be taking some of these prompts and making them your own. So getting to AI directly, as I said last week, you've got ChatGPT, which was the original AI created by OpenAI. And here's the link to it, or you can get the app, and that's what it looks like, and put it on your phone. I have it on because I'm on the Android system on my phone and my laptop. All the apps I have on my laptop on my phone are on my laptop anyhow, and they synced. And with the one ID and password, it remembers all the history on both phone and my laptop. I love it. So any prompt I used on my cell Any prompt I use on my is there on my laptop when I come to my laptop and vice versa. So it's wonderful. And then I've got we have to use copilot.microsoft.com. That is obviously Copilot, which is another tool that we use, a standalone AI tool, and it's by Microsoft. So many of you, half of you, are using Microsoft tools either through enterprise or software that you have, and you may have some restrictions on how you're allowed to use it and if you're allowed to use it. So, with those systems, they're centrally controlled. Many of us use Microsoft. A suite that we have for ourselves. I use 365, which many of you also use. In that case, you go into the settings and you enable it. If you're already paying for Microsoft 365, then you add on to it your Copilot, and then it has it integrated into each of your different Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So you can still use it standalone in all cases. You can still go to copilot.microsoft.com to use it standalone so that it will search the world for you, and it'll still, if you want it to write an email, you can ask it to write an email. If you want it to evaluate your website or a competitor's website and find all the keywords that they're using, what they're doing well and what they're doing poorly, it can still do that for you. And it's amazing. Either all three of these tools can do that. And then there's the latest one to the party, which is most recent one to the party. Uh, Gemini.google.com, obviously by Google. Very powerful. This tool is outstanding, and there are many things it can do that the others cannot. Each one is a little bit different. ChatGPT has some amazing abilities in the area of images creation. All these images I create of myself, that very first slide where I was, kind of a superhero AI person with my dog, that was supposed to be me. And that was created by ChatGPT. And then I had that same person later on pointing. I use her, who's supposed to be me again, in many of the slides I use for workshops. Anyways, and that's created by ChatGPT. Whereas Gemini will help you with coding, but we're not coding in this session at all in these 6 weeks, but that one is one that would help people with coding more so. So they're all a little bit different, and I'm going to show you a little bit of that. So this is how they look standing alone or getting directly to AI. And then this is what they look like integrated in your Word. So if I had Copilot enabled in my Microsoft 360, or if you have Copilot enabled in your enterprise system and you're allowed to use it, then when you go to your Word, you'll see that it shows up right here as Copilot. That's what it looks like. And then if you click on that, what happens is it opens up a window on the side here, and it can look at your document. It can give you advice on your document. You can ask it questions just like you can the one that's in the browser that you use. However, it's not live and online, so it doesn't have updates that are up to date. Its updates are a few months old, meaning if you ask it to give you some statistics, the statistics might be a few months old. So depending on what industry you're in, if you're in something that's timeless, it's okay. If you're something that's like myself, where it changes almost every hour, then you need to have both open. And I always do that. I have the one open that can analyze my document and help me with my document or spreadsheet or PowerPoint. And then I have one open that's going to do my research for me in the net. But we'll talk about that when we get to the productivity world. The reason I'm showing you how it's integrated in your Microsoft, and in a second I'll be showing you how it's integrated in your docs, is it would be great if you're able to get these integrated before we do the productivity week for the module for this class, because that'd be awesome. You just kind of already have it there if you're allowed to, and maybe play with it a little bit, and then we'll use it more extensively when we do the productivity. I'm going to show you what you can do with it then. So that's with Microsoft Word. If you don't have it there, then it might be you haven't enabled it. So you end up going down to your settings, and in the bottom left of your on your laptop, and you click on the settings button, and then when you click on settings, you'll find the settings for your accounts come up. And so your Microsoft 365, if you already pay for that, will come up. And this is where you're going to manage your subscriptions, and you're going to enable your Copilot. So you may have to go through those steps to enable it. There are some YouTube videos that I'll try and find, and I'll add to this deck. And then for docs, I think it went. Sorry, it slipped together. For Docs, where you're going to go for Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, is something called extensions. So in extensions is where you go to enable your AI to integrate it into Google Docs or into Slides or into Sheets if you're using those instead of Microsoft. So everyone's different with what you're using. So for this one, I click on extensions, and then I happen to use GP for Sheets, Docs, and Slides. I like it. It's easier to enable. Gemini, you have to get a key for it. So that one's a little bit trickier to enable. So I find when I'm in workshops with a number of businesses, this is the one we enable when they are people that work with docs. Okay. So that was just in the opening. I'm just going to show you Sheets. It's the same thing, which is the Google platform. You're going to go in and you're going to go to extensions. You click on that. Then you click on add-ons, and then you're going to add on GP for Sheets in this case. And you'll be shocked as to what we'll be able to do with that once it's enabled, whether we're talking to Sheets or we're talking to Excel. You're gonna love what you can do. And in Excel, of course, is through Microsoft. You're going to enable Copilot. Now, I've been using this for a long time, AI. So you'll see I have other AI tools in here as well. So if you don't have access to Copilot in your Microsoft, you might be able to add GPT for Excel and Word. That works really well as far as how it's integrated. Now, of course, Microsoft made Copilot since I was allowed to do this. This is still, you can still put this in, and that one is called, this one, GPT. For Sheets, you can also get GPT as an add-on. Click on add-ons. You can also get GPT for Excel on Microsoft. So these are just some little things you may want to do ahead of time. So if you're a big PowerPoint user and you don't use the other two, then I hope that you'll go to your PowerPoint and try enable your Copilot. And if you're using Sheets instead of PowerPoint on the Google world, I'm hoping you're going to go to your Google Sheets. I'm sorry, your Google Slides, which is like PowerPoint in Google, and you're going to enable your GPT. Okay, so that's it. So now we're going to go to prompts, and I'll be showing you, I'll be going from the prompts section and into, I've mainly gone into either Copilot, or I've gone into Chat GPT, or I've gone into uh, Gemini, and I've put in a prompt. So I've gone down here where it says ask me anything, and this is where I write the prompts that I'm about to show you. Or I'll go into Chat GPT, and it comes up with a ask me anything, and I then put the prompt there. So it's doesn't matter which one I go to, I could put the same prompt, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, here's myself that ChatGPT created, and with my trusty dog. So, and I got myself pointing. So I use this slide a lot when I'm making a point, pun intended. So I love that he was or she was able to do that for me. So mastering prompts, writing, unlocking prompts full potential. So I have this QR code that goes to a slide that I have or a page I have hidden on my website where I put some resources. So you can use those, but I'll also be adding them, of course, to our own discussion board on, I'll be adding it as content on our Blackboard, and you will have access for a year. So that's excellent. So what is a prompt? It's instructions, context, input, and output. So you're giving it specific tasks that you want it to perform, context where you're giving it maybe what kind of company you are, what you're talking about, and then you're going to be putting into it, well, I'm looking for all my competitors. Like, what is it that you're looking for that you want it to find a response on? And then what do you want the output to look like? As I said, do you want it to look like a graph? Do you want it to be an essay? Do you want it to be an email response? What do you want the output to look like? So a definition of prompts are the initial conversation you're having with any AI system that we're going to be talking about. The prompts can be simple or they can be complex. So a simple prompt is asking it one question and getting one answer. It often will ask you, would you like more information? Have you thought of these other questions? Would you like me to answer them? And you click on them and it answers. You get all that from a simple prompt. A complex prompt is one where you ask it to ask you one question at a time, wait for your answer, and then to ask you another question, building on its past questions and your past answers. Then it goes out to the web and it looks at all the data it can find, and it comes back and asks you yet another question based on all of the knowledge it's getting in between. So that's a complex prompt. And we'll be talking about both today as how do you engineer a simple prompt and a complex prompt. So they're pretty exciting. And then it's crucial to have accurate input so your output is relevant and that you're speaking in natural language and it's talking to you in natural language. No coding. You're not having to talk like a computer. You just need to be accurate in what you're asking. When um, AI first was available to humans like ourselves, they often use the word, oh, your AI might be hallucinating, or be careful, AI will hallucinate. So sometimes that was just errors in AI because it was so new. It was giving you back, you're asking it for how to um, create a business plan and it's telling you about how to cook. I mean, it would just start giving you some like, what are you doing? It was just wrong. Now I don't find it hallucinating as much. I could be wrong because I use it all the time, but I don't find it hallucinating. However, sometimes I'll see that my question could have been interpreted just completely, left field from what I had intended. So it has you really think about what you're asking so you're getting the right response back. If you're an expert in something and you're not asking it, when you're an expert in something, you're able to ask it specific questions. I find when you're not an expert in something, you could totally be misleading your AI, and then it's giving you something that's sounds great, but has nothing to do with the topic anymore. So you really need to know your topic when you're asking the questions, which is something we talked about last week. This should be working. There it is. So importance of clear prompts. AI excels at understanding precise prompt, and then it really makes the output. It makes the output out of this world. Excuse me. So you want to look at these 7 steps. That's what we'll be talking about next. So These next steps, 7 steps to prompt optimization. Be specific, avoid ambiguity, provide examples if you can as to what you're looking for, use step-by-step instructions, highlight constraints. If you have constraints in the output is what this means, the format, the word count. If you want an email, perhaps you want it under 500 words. If you're doing a blog, perhaps you want it under a certain amount. Certainly a business listing, sometimes they have only a certain amount of words allowed. If you're putting out a post somewhere, or if even a house listing, if you're selling a house, it only can have, I think it's, I don't remember, 5,000 words. Offer context up front as to, well, who are you, who is your target audience, and experiment. Go back and forth and ask it more questions. Ask it, what have I missed in this prompt? That's a fabulous thing. I have a prompt here. This is what I want it to do. Have I missed anything that I could add to the prompt? AI will tell you, well, here's a better version of the prompt. I love doing that. I sometimes I forget to do that, but that's a excellent way to improve your prompts. So these are 7 steps to prompt optimization. So again, if I'm on Copilot, which was, I think, copilot.microsoft.com, copilot.microsoft.com, you're going to have the Copilot screen come up, and you can either come down here. Now, this screen is an older version of it, but you ask me anything is still the same. And you can even talk to it now, which I really love. So if I want, instead of typing in my prompt, I'm actually telling it my prompt using just me talking, and that's pretty cool, because even when you ramble, as I tend to, it still understands what you meant, and it gives you a precise, concise, professional email to send out, or concise response or summary for a PowerPoint, which sometimes you can just copy and paste. And then you indicate if you want something. So this was if you're asking it to just chat back and forth with you with answers. That's what chat means. Or you can ask it to compose. If you want it to compose a email or a paragraph or a blog, it can do that as well. And then you tell it it's your tone, or you can give it an example of your tone. That is one of the best things to do in examples. If you want it to write something for you or create social media posts, you can give it examples of past posts, or type in cut and paste examples of past emails, so it understands who you are and what you sound like. So it'll still give you amazing information because it's gone out to the world of your industry, and it's given you amazing content, but it's going to sound more like you than AI. And then you can make it short, medium, or long, or you can tell it exactly what length you want it. Do you want bullet form, or do you want it as a chart? So those are some ideas. And then if you're going to use ChatGPT, it looks like this. It says, um, how can I help today? And this is where you're giving ChatGPT a message. You can see here, it allows you to attach something. So with ChatGPT, you can actually upload an image and have it do things to the image depending on what you're asking it to do. So if you remember, for the action figure, I had it incorporate kind of my face in the action figure, so it looked somewhat like me, and a photo of my dogs, so they looked like my dogs versus poodles. And so you can incorporate images in it and help it create what you need to. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so and as I said, if you are integrating, so here I have Copilot in your world, whichever your world is, whether it's Copilot you've put there or GP. When you click on it, it opens up a panel to the right of your document. And here you're able to now ask it to summarize your document, find weaknesses in your document, if it was a contract you're writing, what are the weaknesses for whichever party in that contract you happen to be, and it'll go through and tell you a list of things that you're weak on, that this contract will leave you exposed, and then you can say, okay, what paragraphs should I put in here to minimize my exposure? And it'll give you the paragraphs. It's phenomenal, or you can say, well, what's missing in this document? Can you write or in this business plan, can you help me write the business plan? So from right here, you can start filling in this business plan. Pretty amazing, right? Okay, so here are some of the here are some of the things you may want to do for growth in your company, and these are prompts that we'll be talking about depending on which module we're in. Planning a client event is something you may want to do, which could be from a launching a new location announcement. It could be a customer appreciation event. It could be, anything. It could be a sales event. So, what is this event that you'd like to plan? And, I'm going to show you actually one of the first prompts we're going to do together is the event because I want to show you the structure of the prompt. And then expanding my business. So many prompts that you can leverage to understand which part of your business should you expand. Here are the products I currently have. Here's the city or area I am in. And here are the products I usually sell, as I said. So, what are the gaps? What can I add to my product line that's missing in my current city? And it'll go out and it'll see what's missing as far as availability in your current city and share with you a list of things that you could actually bring to the table that would complement your company because it's already trying to sell to that target market. Pretty amazing. And you don't have competitors. Or you could say, here is what I currently sell. I'm in this city. I'd like to expand my company to 3-hour radius from where I currently am. What cities would benefit from my product? It'll go out, it'll see what cities do not have what you currently sell, and it'll bring you that to your forefront. Or it could say, okay, which new businesses are in my area? Because perhaps you're a chamber of commerce and you'd like to know which businesses are in your area of a certain type, because we know that professional organizations like to join chambers of commerce. So you list, and or you say, what are the types of businesses in other cities that are my size? What are who that join chambers of commerce? So it will go out, it'll look at chambers of commerce's directories and see the types of businesses that have joined them. And you can then say, okay, who are the newest of those types of businesses in my city? And then those you can look at and see perhaps those are businesses that you haven't approached yet to become members. So many different ways that you could use it to, grow your business. It's mind blowing. This one I absolutely love, staying ahead of the competition. You can ask it to list your 5 largest competitors and then ask it to say what their strengths and weaknesses are. And then ask it to indicate how you, let it know who you are, can outperform those companies. That is the most powerful, did I mention that it's powerful prompt that we have used in any of the workshops I've done with companies. So there's a whole bunch of them here that we'll be talking about, but I just wanted to share some of those that are just like so amazing that I look forward to which one might help you the most. So, event planning. So, here is the structure of a good prompt. Okay, so let's look at this. So, you've got the prompt. In this case, we're planning an event for anything. So, you got to tell it what that event is for. And then you're going to tell it the number of people, the area, and the date within the context of this prompt. So, the way I have this structured for you, and you'll see others, you may end up taking other I believe what's going to happen is our people are going to come up with prompts specific for your industry, and they'll have this kind of structure to it. Or you'll come up with prompts that you use, and you'll use them over and over again, and you'll have this kind of structure to them going forward. So you want to say, I am in the process of organizing an event. So if you're only going to create an event once, then you may want to list indicate in writing what that event is up here. But if you're going to do events like workshops over and over again, or press releases, or sales even, you could just keep this prompt like this, and then down here you would write what that event is. So let me say, I'm going to say it's so we're going to have an event. So I'm going to have an AGM. No, that's customer appreciation. Customer appreciation evening event. Thank goodness for spell check. Customer appreciation event. Set a date. So the date is going to be, I'm going to say July 2025, with an anticipated audience of around, I think we could get 200 people, participants. The chosen location will be in our, let's say, Coburg. Coburg area. And whoops, Coburg and surrounding area. I would appreciate if you could provide 5 possible venues within, let's say, 100-kilometer radius, listed from at least the most expensive, from the least expensive to the most expensive, along with the details and amenities that each venue offers. Furthermore, please include the phone number and links to that venue's website. Please format the information in a table. So I'm going to say area, and I'm going to just add something here, most expensive, along with details. And I'd like 5 possible venues, and uh, in a rural setting, because I like that better. Okay, so I think that gives me a lot of information. So now what happens is, if I am going to always have these different events, then I just, maybe the next one isn't a customer appreciation event. Maybe the next one is a sales event, and the area is going to be my actual sales store. Maybe the next one's going to be in Peterborough and the surrounding areas. So it won't be Coburg. Maybe the next one's going to be Belleville and the surrounding area. So you really have to figure out where, if the areas change, you can keep that as a variable that you're going to add later on. So I'm going to say Peterborough. And so now I'm going to copy this whole thing, and I'm going to take it to one of my AI tools. So I can take it to Edge, which is Microsoft, and I have enabled up here on the right side, you can see Copilot. So I click on Copilot, and it comes up, and it says, "Hi, Sophie, what should we dive into today?" So I am going to put this prompt right there. So, okay, I did that wrong. So what I did was I cut and pasted from a PowerPoint that doesn't like that. So I have to paste as plain text, and it likes that much better. So I have the full prompt here. Okay, so I could either do a quick response, or I could say a deep thinker, or I could say deep research, which is new. Detailed report with references. So it takes around 10 minutes. Deep thinker, I'm going to take around 30 minutes. That's fine. That is very cool. So then I click on this little arrow, and it's going to go look for me. So very cool. And then I could go to Gemini at the same time and ask the same question. And I could go to ChatGPT and ask the same question. So often I do that. I'll go to the different locations and I'll ask the same question. Let's see. So what I would have added to this, probably, I would have said that I want to have a, entertainment, if I was having entertainment. So here we go. We have below is a table outlining 5 rural areas with a 100-kilometer radius of Peterborough customer appreciation event. There are roughly 200 participants. And then They are arranged from least expensive to most. Keep in mind that Northview Gardens, where the details are confirmed, venues illustrate details meant to be served as examples. It's a good idea to verify all of your locations. So this is Northview Gardens. It's a wedding venue. It is beautiful. It's in Selwyn, least expensive, outdoor, and it gives me the link and it's telling me what the venue is. Firmhand Gardens tells me where that is, and it's a rustic barn. Rock barn, and it tells me a historic barn with a really cool ambiance. And then another one, and then another one, Very View Barn in Peterborough. And it's cool because I haven't heard of a lot of these. And so it gives you some really very interesting. Now, I could have asked for the prices. So I could have asked for it to also give me pricing versus just if it's least or more. I could have asked if it does catering. So I would have had that in one file as well. And so now it's saying here are some unique offerings, and then it's saying, would you like some tips for budgeting for my event? What unique activities should I have to include for my? So it's going to now give me unique activities for my that I might think I want to have for my event. So you can continue to ask it questions, and it tells you, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? So it goes out and it'll now give us some unique activities. We could have some signature cocktails. Um, Do-it-yourself workshops, hands-on station where they can create personal keepsakes, live culture art where they can immerse themselves with local artists, scenic outdoor treasure hunts, virtual augmented reality to explore technology and VR. So there's some very interesting things that you may want to do with these. And then what you would do is you would ask it to find um, who offers these kind of activities, and it'll go out and find out who offers those kind of activities for you. So it's pretty powerful, and as you can tell, you can use this for anything. Then it becomes your project manager for the event. It becomes the social media. It becomes the save the date, the marketing aspect for this event, creating the materials you need. So it's very powerful. So that's a good prompt that you can use for anything that you have coming up. And then I love this one as well, customer service and sales, knowing your customer. Nothing more important than that, right? So you can say, I have a store, and you want to say the kind of store it is and where it is, if you have a store. And my target markets are, and you indicate who your target market is. So your demographics, age, sex, income, and where your target market happens to be as well. And then list the top keywords that they would use to find my products or service. So you want to understand how they think. Another way I use this as well is to find out what their pain points. Why do they even buy my product? That's a big one. And then I actually ask it to create social media points around the pain points. So that you can see how these prompts are used now, and you can use them over and over again for different types of things that you're doing. So perhaps you have different products that you sell. So it wouldn't be one industry. You can say you're selling a specific product. Perhaps you're selling to different areas. Perhaps you have different demographics. So you may want to use this in a few different ways. Okay, does that make sense? So let's see. Let's move over here and come down here. So let's explore Gemini. Okay, so what I did here for you was I just did a bit of homework on my own when Gemini first came out, and I gave it this prompt. And I thought, well, I wonder how it's going to behave on ChatGPT and on Copilot. And they each behave very differently. So I find this fascinating, actually, that each AI thinks differently. So I wanted to share with you what I meant by that. So the prompt I used, it happened to be for Chesler shoes. Thank you, Kara. And it happened to be that I asked it if it could improve this post for me. It's for, and I said the company, and the company is obviously Chesler Shoes. And then I indicated company. What I said for the company was that it was a friendly family run shoe store. in 3 smaller cities in Ontario, and then I said, comma, Chesler Shoes. So that's what I wrote in here where it says company. So I didn't just say the company name, I also gave it some context around what I think is important for it to know about the company when it's going to give me the post that I need. So can you please improve this post is what I told it. And then it's for, and I indicated the company, because if it was my, sometimes I'll ask it to improve posts for other clients. So I don't want it to get confused because it's a very different vibe. Every company is so different, right? So where is the post? Here is the post. I apologize. I said, here is the post. And here I had an example of the post. And I apologize, an example of the post. And I said, I'd have a photo of the shoe as the accompanying media. So I had in this bracket, I had friendly family run shoe store, 3 smaller cities in Ontario. I could have also added that, they value customer service and being able to measure people's feet. So I could have added some context there. And then I said the example of the post I was going to use, post, was ballerina slipper shoes are popular this year. Check out this shoe and check, who the brand was. Elasticide top. So I indicate what I was going to post. Perfect little style just to match just about anything. So I thought it was pretty good, my post. But then I thought, what would they say? What would Chat GPT, what would my AI friends say? So I asked it, and this is what Gemini's response was. He said that this post that he's given me is much more engaging and benefit focused. And I'm thinking, well, those are the words that I use when I'm sharing with people, when I'm trading with people, how and why you create a post, because you need to be educational. People are looking at your posts because they want to learn. They want to know that you're the subject matter expert, or you're really funny, or you're really cute. But in I think most of our cases, we're the subject matter expert in whatever we're selling. We've got quality product that we carry because we believe in that product. So that's why we carry it. We know what we're doing because we've done it for a long time. And so we want it more engaging so people, you know, engage with it so their friends see it. That's huge. And we want people to know what the benefits are for them to use our products or services. So step into effortless style. And that was huge because these are these step in shoes that people love where you step into it and it's easy to put on. And then all day comfort. Of course, people want all day comfort. So it's giving me up front the benefits to the person that would be wearing this shoe. And then they say, there's a ballerina slip on from Joseph Seibel. And, that brand's important because it's so soft. And then now at Chesler Shoes, having the company's name in it is so important. This year's must have. People want to wear this stuff that is, this year's must have. And it talks about what it is. Craft it with leather, supple, rather leather inside and out. Your feet will thank you with every step. Then it goes on. It says, it's fabulous. It's a very amazing post. And then it says mention one of the cities. So it's actually asking me to mention the cities, which, as you know, if you've taken any of my digital marketing courses, indicating the area you are in and what you sell in the post is excellent for search engine optimization. So it checks all the boxes, and then it even adds some of the hashtags that you would use on Instagram. Of course, you're not going to use hashtags on Facebook because that's just a big no-no. So it also gives you a few options. Here's option 1, and it gave me option 2. The others do not do that unless you ask for it. So here's another option. It said more concise and more action-oriented. Hot trend alert. Ballerina slip-ons are making the waves this year. We've got a fantastic one for you at Chesler Shoes. And so again, it gives you all the options. It tells you to put in the city names. It gives me the hashtags. So it's fantastic. Excellent, excellent suggestions. And then, so that's what Gemini did. But then it went on further and it explained to me why it created posts like it did, and it gave me content that I could understand as to why it was more engaging, why it was a stronger call to action, why it told me to put in the cities. And it was right. It was correct. And I thought, yes, you totally get what you're doing, Gemini. Good for you. So I was so happy as a digital marketing expert. Yeah, this totally this works. I'm so happy to see this. Um, and then I put it also, that same prompt, into ChatGPT, and it gave me back this one page of information. Here is an improved version of your post that keeps it friendly while making it more engaging and polished for a family run shoe store like Chesler Shoes. So it says slip into comfort and style. So again, it created like the benefit statement right up front, slipping in, which people love, and the comfort and style, which is so important. You want comfort and you want to look stylish. It summarized it beautifully into one little sentence, right? And then it talks about what it is. It's the go-to look for the year, these ballerina slippers. It goes with everything. And then this guide, ChatGPT, I have used in the past for Chesler shoes. So it actually remembered, and it probably went and researched it as well, that they happen to be in Peterborough, Belleville, and Coburg. So it added the cities for me. So I just love that. And then it asked me, would I like a shorter version for Instagram, or would I like this adapted for a more visual layout like a carousel or a story text? I go, sweet, I love this. So that was ChatGPT. And then Copilot, not to be outdone. Copilot. Okay, where are you? There you are. And it gave me one that was just as beautiful. Certainly, here's a revised version for your post. Friendlier tone, polished wording, a flair that reflects Chesler shoes' warmth and community focus. And ballerina slip-on shoes are stealing the spotlight this year. So that one's a bit much. I didn't use that one because I would never talk like that. And I never ever use emojis either because we don't talk like that with Chesler shoes. We haven't in the past, so we're not going to start now because of AI. So introducing stylish and versatile choice. Some of the words are a bit too many syllables for what we do as well. So we didn't use it, but you can see that the tone it had, and perhaps it would have worked for another type of company. But if I was only using Copilot, I would ask it to be a little more casual, is what I would have gone back to. And it said, let me know if you'd like it further tweaks, version tailored specifically for platforms or a newsletter. So it's asking me some important questions as well, and what I'd like it to change to. So there you go. So it's interesting how the three are so different. So I just wanted to share that with you. So what kind of content could you create? So again, as we work on the marketing, we will obviously use more marketing prompts for creating social media, blogs, which are important, creating videos, podcasts, images, newsletters, emails, flyers. And we're doing productivity. We're going to look at home listings if you are real estate agents, but product descriptions through Shopify. For those of you, many of you use Shopify for your websites. Course materials, if you're a course instructor or any type of trainer, it's beautiful for the productivity on that front. Creating presentations, financial statements, and annual reports. It's beautiful in productivity for that aspect. And meeting minutes using Zoom. I'm going to show you the beauty of using something like Zoom for its meeting minutes and for its just the way it captures the video and breaks it up into the different sections so you can use it uh, later on. So there's so many different ways. And then what I've done for you in the next two slides are look at what you would where these different um, types of content can be used. And this isn't used to anybody. If you are a strategic planner. You create strategic plans, you create action plans, you create competitive analysis already. You have an approach to them in business. So all we're talking about is how you inject AI to each of your processes, and we'll talk about which apps there are available to you in some cases that you might want to inject. And then sales and marketing. You probably already use an email tool like Constant Contact or Chimp Mail MailChimp, and I'd be talking to you about the AI that's integrated in all those tools now and how they can help you. Or if you are using Shopify, as many of you are, you can enable AI in your Shopify carts and your and there you Shopify shops, I meant to say, and you can have it look at your descriptions in the productivity world and help you with those. So these are different things that we're going to be talking about for each one: marketing, client support, and then productivity, finance. It's huge what we can do in finance as well. Human resource management, whether it's creating job descriptions or onboarding packages through chatbots. That's a big one. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. And then legal compliance, having it check out contracts and compliances. You can ask it to look for the compliance standards, and if this document that it's looking at, look the report, what it's missing in order to be compliant. So much we can do on that. So I'm excited for that. So if I want to look at a prompt to create a blog, I'll show that to you here. It's something we'll be using in the marketing um, one. So in here, what I did was I asked, is it going to go there? Here it is. It's behind here. Or is it? It's right there. Oh, I see. I've got Chat GPT, sorry, Copilot in the way. So this is a blog that I had AI create, where I have a prompt on the next slide that I'll share with you, that I'm hoping you're going to create your own blog as some homework for yourself. And what I asked it to do was give me 5 ways that my clients might use AI to boost productivity. So AI created this AI topic for me in a blog. So, 5 ways AI can boost your daily productivity. As we've heard, AI intelligence is no longer just for tech giants or giant companies. It's a powerful tool, but it's given me automation, automating administrative tasks, enhancing customer service with AI chatbots, optimizing marketing efforts. Well, you can see the 5 different ways, and then I indicate to people that through workshops or the micro credentials AI course for business leaders, they can learn more. So I had it create that for me, which is pretty cool. And then another one I had create was this one, which I said, and this is my husband's business. What I asked it to do was create a blog for my husband's website. What he is a home improvements company. And so this blog was intended to be educational for these 3 elements of his company and services: bunkies, decks, and fences, and to talk about how he can help if you've messed up a do-it-yourself project. And that's what it was meant to do, and that's what it did. So avoiding these common mistakes when building your dream deck, bunkie, or fence with our 30 years of experience. So it's brought to the forefront that he's got 30 years of experience, and here's some common mistakes he sees. Here's how to avoid them. But if you still need help, give him a call. So I love that. So it came up with some fabulous ideas, wrote the blogs. We corrected a little bit, told us to put in photos of his actual work. So he and my dog, and then some of the bunkie in construction in progress. In that case, I believe they started it without him, and they had to stop because the building inspector wasn't involved. He got involved. He knows the building inspectors, got that checked off, and was able to step in and finish it for them. So just, it's pretty cool because it comes up with, it knows so much about what works with your clients that is going to incorporate that in whatever it's answering, as you saw for the posts for Chesler shoes, as you're seeing here for SRS home improvements. Instead of just saying that, avoid these mistakes, or here's how you write, we do bunkies, we do fences. It's saying here are some things to avoid, this is why, and here is, we can help you if you need it. So it's giving them information, education, yet knowing that he's an expert in that and trust us. So it's so cool. So if you want to write your own blog, make it educational, and that's key. And here's a prompt that might work for you. Please write an educational blog on 5 ways my target audience, so whoever your target audience is, can use whichever product or service you want this blog to be about to address whatever pain point you'd like it to address. So perhaps you've done this one first, which is knowing my client. Back up here. Um, Knowing my client, and you may want to say, this is my industry that I'm in, this is where I sell to, and these are my demographics. Please list their top 5 pain points as it relates to my product or service. So you know what their top 5 pain points are. And then you would do a blog on, please write an educational blog with 5 ways my target audience, my client, can use my services or product, whichever one you have, to address their related pain points. So if you had just done the other prompt, then it will build on that prompt. If you know your pain points because you've done that prompt before, then you want to list their pain points. If you don't know your pain points, then you might want to say in here as well, as it relates, please discover what their pain points are for me and highlight how my products and services will help them heal their pain points. And then what I like to do, so I'll have a blog. Then what I like to do is say, turn that into 5 social media posts that'll bring people back to my blog. So each social media post will be about one of my solutions and one of their pain points. So that's cool, right? So it all relates. And then you could also say, if you use newsletters, please create a newsletter to go out to my audience as well. So you can use that prompt to really help yourself move forward. Here's an amazing prompt for a SWOT. And so I'm giving you an example of the output, but I also will give you the prompt itself. So please give me a SWOT analysis, in this case, Quinn's Blooms Florist and Flower Delivery, focused on its marketing position. They're located in Cobourg, Ontario, because maybe there's another one somewhere else in the world. So I need to tell it where it is. And I'm not sure where my white dog is. So what I do here is just let you know is the prompt can be so open, meaning you're just telling it to create you a SWOT analysis. So you're not giving very much direction here. So this is considered a simple prompt. I'm going to show you in a few slides a complex prompt around the same topic. So you can go simple, you can go complex. So here's an output from Copilot. I did the same thing here where I went to Copilot, Gemini, and to ChatGPT. So Copilot was saying, okay, that's great, but I need more information. So I need to know. So it's saying, oh, sorry. So I'm telling you Copilot first. Copilot says, that's great. Here's a SWOT analysis. So it's telling us that, that they've got good local presence. They've got great delivery options, contact options, diverse personal service. So it's telling us their strengths. Then it comes in and it tells us their weaknesses, limited online presence. Looks like they have seasonal fluctual demands. I don't know how they know that. Inventory management challenges. And then it says opportunities that you should expand your digital presence. You should have some corporate partnerships. They should have subscription services, so some cool, neat ideas, eco-friendly initiatives, and then threats online competition from bigger retailers, economic uncertainty, supply chain disruptions. So it's giving us a SWOT analysis, which is pretty cool. And then I remember with Copilot, they also asked, did you want this in a chart format? So I was able to get a chart format if I wanted. So that was Copilot. The Gemini said, all right, let's put our strategic thinking hats on. And to deliver this, I need more information. So it's now saying, I have questions for you. So it's asking you, it's turned this simple prompt into a complex situation where it's asking you questions. First, what is Quinn's current marketing position in Coburg and surrounding areas? What is their reputation? Who are their main competitors? What are Quinn's Bloom key products? What's their online presence like? Do they have a website? So I think that's strange that it's asking me these questions, because I would tell it to please go out and find out all that information versus asking me. So I found that a little strange. And then it comes out with, and what are their successes? So it's given me all sorts of positive reviews. They seem to have positive reviews. It's a very different approach, the Gemini back and forth. And as far as I'm not seeing the SWOT analysis, so I don't understand what it's actually doing, to tell you the truth. So that's interesting. But then I look at ChatGPT. It says, "Excellent, you've been really clear in your direction," and it's given me the SWOT analysis. It says it's telling me the positive, negatives, the strengths, the weaknesses, and it's very strong. And then it's also given me the opportunities and the threats, obviously. So it's fabulous. And then ChatGPT goes on to written analysis. It gives me a summary, and then it asks me if I wanted the code for my website. So if I wanted to put the code in my website, and so people click on they find out more information. So it's pretty amazing. So this is you can see what else it could do, and then it tells me what they should prioritize. So not only did it give me the strengths and the weaknesses and the opportunities, it also told me what it should prioritize, and it gave me the assumptions it made already on it. So it went out and did my research for me, and then down here it said, would you like to have it in a chart format? And it created code in an HTML format that I just cut and paste, and I put into a area on my website where you put in code that's created by a third party, and it does what that code tells it to. And in this case, it put in the chart. So that was fascinating that I could have a chart there. So you may want a chart on your website of a SWOT analysis that you've done as an expert for something else. So that's pretty cool. So again, where I have all these prompts, if you want to look at them, is on a hidden part on my website. So you can look at the QR code here and pick that up. Or I'm going to try and put them on the Blackboard as well. So this is an example of a complex prompt, where the first one I showed you for SWOT was just a simple prompt asking it to give you a SWOT analysis, and here's the company name. That was it. Now this is another example, and I think Gemini would have been much happier with this example. So I asked, tell the actual ChatGPT or any of my tools, we tell the AI to take on the role of an expert strategist. So you'll find that often in prompt engineering is that you need to tell it who it is. Like, how is he answering it? What hat are you asking AI to put on? So take the role of an expert strategist who can look at situations from multiple angles and and spot things that are that most people miss. I have, and then you say the information. So you indicate that, you replace that with the topic that I would like you to create a SWOT analysis for. So it could be your company's marketing, it could be your company's product mix, it could be, so what you indicate is what you'd like the SWOT analysis on. I want you to think about the situation from different perspectives and give me a broader view. If you need a specific information that can be found, that can't if you need specific information that can be found on the internet, please conduct a website search and let me know where you found the information. So I want to know its sources. If I haven't given you enough information for a valuable response, please ask me questions one at a time, giving me time to respond, and please build on the past questions. So I'm telling it step by step what I want it to do as an expert for me. Deliver your response with bullet points for each of the quadrants, further analysis showing the impact, threats, and weaknesses, the strengths and weaknesses, and their opportunities, a written analysis of the situation based on the matrix you've created, assumptions made during the process, further research that would improve the analysis. Once you've delivered this, ask me if I would like to make any amendments. Once I'm happy with the information, ask me if I would like a visual representation. If I ask for a visual representation, please code an interactive HTML web page for visual SWOT analysis that I can put this on my page with different colors for each block quadrant. This block, and so we'll list the points from their analysis. And if I click on the point, it'll pop up with further information, which is what ChatGPT did on its own without me asking all that. But this complex prompt, you can see why it's complex. First, it's asking it to go back and forth, but it's giving it step-by-step instructions. So so Gemini would have preferred, I think, this question, whereas ChatGPT made a lot of its own assumptions. But what was nice is it gave me those assumptions afterwards and its sources. So this is pretty cool. And again, I've got it on that page for you. And I think some of you might find it very interesting when you're creating your own SWOT analyses for growth, for taking on perhaps a new type of product, expanding your business. So many different ways you can use your SWOT analysis. So here's another one for customer and services, knowing my clients. And so what did I write this one for? I own a blank store in a certain area. Target market is whatever your demographics are. People, that's in the wrong place. People, sex, and income and location. And then could you identify the complementary products or services they'd be interested in buying locally, even if these items are currently unavailable in the area? And I would say is yeah, and then what I would probably do on this one, I would make it even put this into a matrix for me with each product and a little bit of a description of the product and what pain points it will solve. So you can ask it to elaborate even further as you like. So this is knowing my clients. So there's so much you can ask there. And with this one, I like this one as well. As a business owner in a certain area, I want to reach my target clients effectively with, and you got to indicate what your products are. Would you recommend? Could you recommend the best distribution channel and potential partners? So you're looking to reach a certain target client with certain products. Got the product, but how do I get them out there? What's the best distribution channel and potential partners? So you've asked it now to provide you details on who they are and how I can leverage their distribution power and start from there. So that's a fabulous way to use AI as well. Social media posts. So we're going to talk more about this and the press releases when we do the marketing session next week. Business plans. We're going to talk more about this when we do our business planning. When we do our business development. Sorry, I'm just moving this a little bit. And this is a complex prompt for business plans. It's something that Nikki may want to look at ahead of time, but you're basically telling AI that it is a expert strategist with the ability to articulate a vision and then create a compelling business plan. And you're going to ask it here to ask you one question at a time, giving you time to actually write the answer, and then it will learn from the questions it asked and your answers along the way to, and then go out and find information and then ask you the next question. And then it'll write the answer in a way that you can put it into your business plan. And then down here, you've indicated the sections of your business plan: company description, organization and management, products and services, market analysis, marketing and sales strategy, operational plan, and your executive summary. So these aren't new to a business plan. You could even have gone to this complex tool and said, write me the sections of the business plan, and then go through and create it for me and then indicate this, where they're going to ask it to you one at a time. But I like giving it a little bit of direction. You could have done the same thing for answering a grant, where you indicate what are the sections of the grant as they've asked for it down here, because if you're answering a grant, it always wants it, or an RFP, it wants it in a certain way. And so you can ask it to ask you one question at a time and then answer it in the same manner with these sections. So that's another way of using a complex prompt. And here's another complex prompt for Sherry, and it's for a financial report. And so in this case, we're talking about play the role of a highly expert financial analyst, with the ability to extract useful information from a financial report. I want you to start by collecting the most important figures in the attached document. So you can attach an Excel spreadsheet if you want, or you can use this prompt within your Excel spreadsheet so it stays in a closed environment, which is what I suspect you'll want to do, which is what I would do. Presenting one at a attached document, presenting them to me. This is a multi-stage prompt. I want you to perform the calculation at each step using a chain of thought approach. Give me a brief explanation of what each calculation means, and then once you have done the calculation, give me your analysis, the entire stage based on the results. Ask me if I want to move on to the next stage. If you don't have the information to perform any of the calculations, tell me. Do not make assumptions. Do not fabricate numbers. This is important for calculations to be accurate, and this is what I need. So similar to the business plan, you're telling it what you need in your financial report. So again, just like any financial report, here are the main sections. You may want different sections because you're the expert. Sherry, you're the expert in being the accountant, and so I would, maybe it's missing something. I got this from AI saying what are the standard sections of a financial report, and then what are the parts, what are the equations for each one. So this could be wrong, so you want to go in and make sure it's accurate for what you need, and then have it help you create that. And it could then be something that you give to someone that's more junior in your organization, have them create this. If you're training somebody, maybe in a nonprofit situation, and then you want to check it to make sure it's accurate. So that's pretty cool. So those are some prompts. And I have this spreadsheet of prompts that I've given you access to. And this is one of the first prompt spreadsheets I've received when I was on one of my first excellent courses from someone named Dave Briss. And he's a great resource. And so these are some of the ones that you may want to use. Scalability analysis, what do you have to worry about when you're growing your company? How do I refine my industry? What are some out of the box value add kind of things I could do in my industry that my competitors might be doing, aren't doing here, but maybe people that are like me are doing in other cities and countries that I might be able to do here. It's amazing what you'll actually find. We can do that in our business development our part. Defining your brand and purpose, scenario planning. It's just value proposition canvas. If you are an economic development, a small business enterprise center, they use the value proposition canvas to help their businesses grow. So you can create a complex prompt, which this is, to help you grow your business. It looks at your jobs that need to be done, pain points, gains, products. So it's pretty exciting. Your elevator pitch. So you can see this as you go on and on. Oh, sales objectives. Sure. That's one of my favorite ones as well. But we'll talk about that when we talk about the marketing aspect. I think that would be smart there. Okay, so I've gone over again, but I hope that was helpful to you. And so that's the end of our engineering prompt lecture. We'll be talking about it again on Tuesday when we're together. And questions that you have, please bring them. And then we'll go on to marketing. Thanks.